It was just over 5 months ago when 186 Football New South Wales clubs representing local associations, Leagues 1 and 2, and the NPL Men's New South Wales set out looking for Cups magic. And here we are at Nostrada Jubilee Stadium for the culmination, the final of the 2024 Waratah Cup between Rockdale Ilinden and APIA Leichhardt. Yes, it's a storied and much sought-after trophy that has its roots in the late 1950s. And over 65 years on, we have a classic confrontation between a team in Rockdale in their first final against one of the traditional powers, APIA, in their 10th Waratah Cup final and 4th in the past 6 years. Hello and welcome. Tony Tanous in commentary with you, and I'm joined today by Alex Molchanov, who will be bringing you through today's game, and Alex will kick things off by taking you through the lineups.
Here we go, Tony. So excited to be with you for this one. 3 changes for Rockdale Ilinden from the side that drew 1-1 with Sutherland over the weekend. Nick Soros starts in goal behind a back 4 of number 14, Braden Sorge, back from that foot injury, in from the start tonight, alongside number 2, Daniel Collins, number 22, Blake Risciuto, and number 5, Giorgio Speranza. A midfield 3 of number 6, Isaac Danzo, number 8, Dean Pelikanos, and number 10, Brenda Chalakian. In behind that dangerous front 3 of number 11, Lachlan Constable, number 9, By Antonio, and the league's top scorer, number 7, Alec Urashevsky. For APIA, wholesale changes from their 5-1 loss to Sydney FC over the weekend. They line up like this. Number 1, Anthony Bizanis in goal behind a back 4 of number 2, Saya Kambiashi, number 21, Michael Kuda, number 23, Dakota Askew, and number 25, Sean Simmons, sent off in this game a year ago. A midfield 3 of number 18, the captain, Adrian Uchino, number 22, Eddie Caspers, and number 14, Jack Armson, either side of him. An attacking trident for Franco Parisi as well. Number 11, Rory Jordan, scored in this game last year off the left. Number 7, Jack Stewart off the right behind their top scorer this season, number 9, Ben Gibson. Tony, how excited are you? I know I'm buzzing. I can hardly sit still. This is going to be a great night of football.
Yeah, look, the two standout teams over the last couple of years. They finished 1 and 2 on the NPL ladder in season 2023, and they've been the two setting the pace. Marconi's come in late in the regular season, but this one should be a classic. As I mentioned in the intro, the experience of APIA up against Rockdale, who are a club and a team on the rise. So, yes, sit back, relax. We're just about set to go. Jake Rose is our match official. A big occasion for him and his assistants in Alessandro Lana and Aaron Block. And our 4th official is Kelly Jones. Just about set. It will be APIA running from right to left in their traditional sky blue. The surface here at Rockdale is absolutely picture perfect. So a fitting occasion. And we are just about set to get the 2024 Waratah Cup final underway. And it is APIA first with possession. It's going to be interesting, Alex, to see how this one plays out early. The two teams and their respective styles, both ball-playing sides. So what are you looking forward to? What are you expecting from this one?
Well, plenty of attacking football, Tony. The games between these two over the last few years have always had goals. We've had a 3-2 and a 2-1 earlier in the season, and we're 1 apiece this year. Rockdale hadn't been able to beat APIA for so long before this season. They got that monkey off their back in round 26 this year, not too long ago. And they'll be hoping to carry that form into this one. But for APIA, big chance at redemption themselves.
Here's a early press from Rockdale. They're looking to get on the front foot early on. They were looking for their skipper in Urashevsky, but it was good alert defending from Dakota Askew. A big occasion for him alongside Michael Kuda today. So the news around APIA, Temba Mwatamalo, as the flag goes up. Temba Mwatamalo, one of their main central defenders. He's had to make do with a spot on the bench, as Alex brought you prior to kick-off. He suffered an injury last week away to Olympic FC in the Australia Cup round of 32 loss in Queensland. Not quite ready to make a return. Here's Kambiashi. Now it's Stewart looking over the top. Sean Simmons getting forward early. What a big game player he is. And you mentioned the send-off last year, so he'll be keen for some redemption today.
But, of course, scored in their last cup final victory, I believe, back in 2018, Tony, against Sokoa. So he's got fond memories of this match as well, but obviously playing a more defensive role tonight, that'll be interesting. We're already seeing how direct both teams love to be. They're both such attacking football sides, and that means plenty of entertainment for us tonight.
Here's Armson, drifts this one up towards the back post. A good, confident early grab from Nick Soros. Exactly what you want from your custodian. And he's been in terrific form since coming in for Harrison Devenish-Mears during the transfer window.
Exactly what Rockdale were looking for by bringing him in. They obviously suffered that 9-0 defeat while Ricardo Rizzo was in goal. He's only on the bench tonight. Turned in a good performance the week after that at Blacktown City. But just a keeper with a little bit more experience, providing a little bit more assuredness at the back behind that experienced pairing tonight of Blake Rasciuto and Daniel Collins.
Rasciuto alongside Daniel Collins today, as you said there, in the centre of midfield. And Braden Sorge, so good to see him back. It was that 9-0 loss to Marconi in round 20. It was his last start. Limped off in the first half. It was good to see him come back off the bench on the weekend. But he's a big game player, so much experience. So they welcome him back into the back four today. Here's Jordan now. Out from Kuda. Sean Simmons trying to get forward early on in this match. And there's Giorgio Speranza. Only as far here as Stewart. He can go on the dribble and look to square it across. Armson not shy in taking that shot. And the slick surface already. You can see the players keen to knock it around.
Good noise coming from down below us, Tony. You see the way that APIA's two fullbacks get onto the football. Sean Simmons has spent so much of his career as a wing player, and Seiya Kambayashi, although he came into Australia as a fullback, has been deployed further up the pitch. They'll be looking to get forward as much as possible early. Put pressure on Rockdale's fullbacks who, well, if Braden Sorge is not fully fit perhaps, and he's had to work his way back to fitness. Giorgio Speranza has been ever present, but they want to make him do his fair share of defending tonight because he loves to get forward as well.
Fascinating early battle for control. Both teams looking to apply the high press. It is the way that both coaches, Nick Stavroulakis for Rockdale, who's filling in, of course, for Paul D, who's currently away. And that's a good press here. And the recovery was good from Simmons, but they're still on the front foot now. Urushevsky forces the first save, the first meaningful save, and it was a good hand from Buzanis. But there was the high press doing the work for Rockdale, and it allowed them to burst into the 18-yard box.
And there's no secret about where their strength lies. Rockdale through the middle with that combination that has grown so beautifully over the past couple of years between Chalakian and Urushevsky, nearly punishing APIA in the fullest here. But they've got an early corner.
And Chalakian is the player that's going to take it. Drifts this one towards the knee post. Rasciuto was attacking that. And we've seen how effective he has been in season 2024 since returning from Southeast Asia. What a stalwart he is for the club. He's got some big goals and he was looking for one early there.
I think he's got 3 late ones since he's come back, hasn't he, Tony? He's been a big source of important goals for them. That could have been the most important of all of them if he'd managed to get his head on that. Good start for Rockdale.
And given that it is their first game, Alex, how do you feel, their nerves will be? And obviously they'll be really motivated, but it's their first big final.
Well, this is what they've got to be careful, Tony, is being caught on the break. This is where APIA love to play their football. And
there's a challenge from Daniel Collins, and Jake Rose was right on the scene, along with his assistant referee, and it is going to be the first yellow card. Excellent counter-attack from APIA. They burst forward quickly, and they committed Daniel Collins out of the back line. And he's the first player to go into the book. Back into the starting 11 today after being rested on the weekend. One of 3 changes for Nick Stavroulakis. And he's got to walk the tightrope now with that early yellow card. And it gives APIA a set piece. Stewart's there at the near post. Gibson's in there. Kuda's also floating around. And it comes from Armson. This one stood up towards Kuda! And he's opened the scoring! Michael Kuda! A set-piece routine that's worked to absolute perfection. Rockdale have been punished for giving away that free kick. And just the perfect start for APIA Leichhardt.
And it comes from a typically APIA attack. winning the ball back and getting forward as quickly as possible in transition. They win the set piece, and then Michael Kudo, who loves getting his name on the score sheet. He hasn't got too many this year, but he comes up with a big one in the cup final, Tony. What a start for APIA. They took the lead last year, weren't able to hang on. They're going to make a better game of it this time, I feel.
Yeah, there's a lot of motivation around APIA after last year's loss and their experience. They've played in some massive finals. As I mentioned in the intro, this is their 4th in 6 years as far as the Waratah Cup's concerned. And they've been an ever-present on the Australia Cup scene as well and caused some big upsets in recent years. So plenty of experience, and Rockdale have been set back early. So how will they respond?
Well, not too much needs to change for them. They need to make sure that they're pressing through the middle of the pitch and finding Brendan Chalakian and Urashevsky as quickly as possible. You see the same thing happening for APIA, though. They're trying to get forward quickly.
And there was Jordan. Again, it was Armson trying to thread that one in behind. And they're trying to invite the central defenders out. It was a theme that we saw in the round 11 clash between these two as the ball comes across now, and Constable only to be denied by a wonderful save from Buzanis. It was Bay Antonio who got him down the left-hand side. He slid it across, and Constable looked like he was going to score, only for Buzanis to come up with an absolute beauty.
This is exactly what we're expecting, Tony. End-to-end stuff, two teams that love to get forward, and when the fullbacks are pushing high, there's room for teams to counter-attack. Anthony Buzanis has had an up-and-down year in terms of his form, but there's never been any questions about his bravery. Stands up in a big moment there for APIA.
So it's going to be Bay Antonio, the player who slid that ball across. He's going to take this set piece. And Rockdale looking to hit back quickly. Defended at the near post. Sean Simmons. What a great opportunity. And it was the speed. We've seen it at the other end. And there's Rockdale doing the same. Trying to keep a bit of possession here with Sorge. And now Pelikanos. Nice build up this. They switch it out to the left-hand side for Giorgio Speranza, and he took it on the right foot. Not a bad sider, but it was nice tick-attack of movement out of a tight area.
Well, you asked how they'd respond, Tony. I didn't think there was going to be too much change from Rockdale because this is the way they play regardless of the game situation, and the early goal will have set them back a little bit, but I don't think there'll be any change in how they're looking to go about their football, and they'll just be looking to go back to the things that have made them so successful over the past 2 seasons, particularly so this year. They've got players who are more experienced in these big game moments now. I feel like they're going to respond a little bit better than perhaps they would have in seasons past.
Here's Kambiashi. Now Dakota Askew. Heavy challenge on that far side, seen by the referee. It was Bay Antonio on Kambiashi. So free kick. Again, we're seeing that press from Rockdale whenever they get the opportunity to push up onto the back four of APIA. It's the pattern early on. It's been a terrific start. We're just past the 10-minute mark, and your early impressions end to end.
Yeah, exactly. Both teams trying to play in transition, trying to press the other, which is creating such an entertaining watch for us. And I think we can expect that to continue for at least the first half of the match. The question will be how both teams deal with the fatigue. APIA have had this awful run in terms of how many games they've had to play over the past couple of months. I think it's 14 games in the last 60 days or so. So it's about being able to manage that over the course of the 90 minutes and even longer if we go to extra time as we did last season, Tony.
We've seen their response in the semi-final despite their form in the NPL competition. And to your point, Alex, about their heavy schedule in the past 6 weeks, they've only had one Wednesday off.
That's right.
It's just been weekend, Wednesday, and you know, in the last 36 days, 10 games. So it's just been a massive schedule, which has really impacted their push for the NPL title this year. But they are a big game side.
And it means that this early goal for them is so important as well, Tony. They've got something to defend now. They'll obviously look to try and increase that lead over the next 45 minutes or so.
As they go in behind now for Gibson, and the flag stays down. Great chance to make it 2-0, and it was a strong hand there. They got caught in behind, and the keeper, Soros, come up with a big save to keep it at 1-0. Here's Jordan now, looking to add more misery early on for Rockdale. A terrific dribble into the box. Good block. APIA looking to keep the pressure on. This is a terrific start from Franco Parisi's men. Here's the goal scorer, Kuda. Caspers, one of those changes from the weekend, freshened up. Here he is again. Looking to link with Jordan, and it was an attempt to slide that one in behind again. It's clearly something in the game plan. They want to play off the last shoulder.
It's a big save from either goalkeeper now, isn't it, Tony? You know, Anthony Mazzanis making that save from Lachlan Constable only a couple of minutes ago, and then Ben Gibson slipping in behind as he's done so regularly this season. APIA getting forward down the flanks again here.
Great ball here from Simmons, and it was Gibson trying to take it on, and Suris didn't risk it. Still alive here for Sean Simmons. He's got Jack Stewart at the back post, but he goes square instead to Caspers. And Caspers, who's shown that propensity to burst forward into the box throughout season 2024. It's a real addition to the APIA template this season. Keep an eye out for that. As I said, freshened up. Here he is again. Now Sorge under pressure. Collins has to play forward. Both sides really trying to apply the press as soon as they cough up possession in the front third.
Well, part of the intrigue around this game, Tony, certainly from a tactical perspective, is how similar both teams are, because they are looking to play in transition and get down the flanks and use the pacing behind of their central strikers. It's been an effective formula for both of them. APIA just executing that game plan a little better in the opening 13 minutes or so.
Collins happy to track that one over the line. Gibson in particular looking very sharp, just playing in between Rashudo and Collins. So a really absorbing opening 15 minutes here at Nostrata Jubilee Stadium for this 2024 Waratah Cup Final. Thanks for your company wherever you're watching on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel. Your spot for all the action in the National Premier League men's and women's. As the ball goes forward from Rockdale, it was an attempt to try and thread that into Urushevsky. And they're caught square this time. The flag does go up, but really trying to play against that high line of Rockdale are APIA, and happy to play it in behind.
Franco Parisi almost acting like a second assistant on the near side. He wants all the pressure to go on the referees to give his side the best chance of getting in behind, and it's proving effective at the moment. Rockdale have just maybe got to set their line a little bit deeper and absorb some of this pressure. They've been better at making in-game adjustments over the course of this season, and they're still improving on that. They've got two experienced heads back there, but they're being caught by the quick legs of Jack Stewart and particularly Ben Gibson in these early stages.
Lovely build-up here from APIA, trying to play through that high press. The atmosphere has built as we've got closer to kick-off here. Now it's Uchino. Out to Simmons. Good first touch from Jordan. Excellent work. Oh, it looked like Constable had got back behind the ball, but the referee again right on the spot, and he's adjudged that one a foul.
One of those 50-50 decisions Rockdale will be feeling at the moment. They're not quite getting the rub of the green, but that's because they're being second to the ball. APIA have just looked that little bit sharper, and it's only a game of fine margins between these two. Rockdale have come out of the blocks a little slower, which is perhaps a bit of a surprise considering those games that APIA have had to get through, but all credit to Franco Parisi's side. They're putting all sorts of pressure on the Premiers-elect at the moment.
Good opportunity here from a free kick. And it's Armson again. He was the deliverer for the opening goal. Seen his quality over the last couple of seasons as far as set pieces are concerned. And this one's a flat one. Trying to ask the question of Soros again. And he had to parry it away for a corner.
APIA looking very dangerous from these set pieces. Not typically their favourite route to goal, but Jack Armson's been right on the money with his delivery so far tonight. Of course, without Jordan Segredo, who's scored a couple of blasters from free kicks over the last month or so. But Jack's taken over this role well, and he's got another corner to try and send in and offer more problems to Rockdale's defence.
In there is Sean Simmons again. Kuda trying to make himself a nuisance. The target was Kuta again. Looks like that's certainly part of the APIA game plan, to use the aerial prowess of Michael Kuta. That's working well, and here's Rockdale now looking to go forward quickly into counter-attack through Constable. And it was Caspers who got across just to shut him down. The pattern of this match very much set with the quick counter-attacks.
100%. And if there's any young players watching this and wondering why we rave about Alec Urushevsky, just watch his movement off the ball there, and then the delivery and the switch of play for Lachlan Constable. He's not just a player who gets on the score sheet, he contributes in build-up as well. Such a key for Rockdale.
Here's Bay Antonio drifting this one up towards the back post. Good punch from Buzanis, but Rockdale with the opportunity to recycle through Giorgio Speranza. Now Dancel. The metronome out of midfield. Nice bit of work to get that into the box, and it's still alive through Urushevsky. And he took the first-time snapshot, and we know all about his qualities in the box. Competition's top scorer. He's already got 8 in Cups football this season. You can't give him too many opportunities or too much space. Kuto looks long again. They try to go over the top for Gibson. Soros is alert to it this time. Good goalkeeping. Took a high position. Under pressure in midfield. Not much time for Rockdale. They're being pressed quickly. Here's Dancel. Chalakian trying to find a bit of room. Sorge makes the run. Antonia's just switched flanks and he looks for Urushevsky. The idea was good. The execution not quite on point.
See the fluidity of Rockdale's front three there by Antonio, who's been brought into the side, was struggling to get into the starting team before that horrific injury to Mathieu Cordier. But he's found his form in the last 4 weeks or so, hasn't he, Tony? He's really looked at it since Nick Stavroulakis has called upon him to insert himself into that starting 11. And we're starting to see the form he was showing last year in that terrific run that Rockdale made that just saw them fall short of the premiership. Just watch him drifting around the front line as this game progresses. He'll enjoy the open spaces that develop over the course of the 90 minutes.
Here's another opportunity for APIA. Again, they were trying to play that one over the top. It's very much the modus operandi in the opening 20 minutes. Looking to spring Gibson, Rory Jordan and Jack Stewart in behind as quickly as possible. Here's Urushevsky just dropping off. A rare heavy touch from him. Can APIA go forward quickly down that right-hand side? Not able to quite keep that one in. But you're right about Bay Antonio. I thought he produced his best performance on the weekend against the Sharks. He was terrific in that match. In a team that, Rockdale didn't play their best on the weekend. I think they'll admit that. Bay was a shining light in that game. You talk about the pressure that's being applied in midfield, Tony. I think that's part of the reason both teams are looking to go so direct, is they know they don't have a lot of space in there. Brenda Chalakian's struggling to get free of Adrian Uchino, who's just going about his work quietly as he always does, and Isaac Danzo's having to step in and try and take some of that creative job off him at the moment. But at the moment, the best outlet is out wide because that's where the space is for both sides. Good defending from Collins. Wins it and carries his run forward. Release looking for Bay Antonio, a little bit too heavy. The work to win it was good, but Rockdale at the moment not quite able to find that final ball into the front third.
He's looking a little bit rushed, a little bit panicked. They were putting together some nice moves earlier in the match, and I think the key is really going to be getting Alec Urushevsky involved as early as possible alongside Chalakian. When those two are close together, that's when Rockdale do their best work in those tight attacking areas. Haven't had the opportunity to really get them working on the same page apart from one chance inside the first 10 minutes here.
The experience of Sean Simmons just shielding the ball, inviting the challenge from Constable. They've got the lead early on. So much experience that runs through this squad, but also a youthful injection over the past couple of years, and Franco Parisi now in his second year along with David DePuzzo. It's been a difficult run for them over the last month or so. probably their first real challenge.
Yeah.
But they've been really pleased with the way they're continuing to play. They're playing their football, but it's just been
And a lot of those results, Tony, you talk about that, have been games where they've been probably the better team in general play. Foul here from Jack Armstrong, just stepping in late on Blake Rasciuto. But, you know, a lot of those performances have been encouraging despite the fact they've lost those games, and they've had to go through a lot of squad rotation, as we talked about at the top of the broadcast. So there's plenty for Franco Parisi to be happy about, and you can see that they're starting to get back towards the form they were showing late last year. I think they're certainly not a team that anyone will be fancying facing come finals time, and certainly they've provided more than a challenge for Rockdale in the opening quarter of this game.
currently sitting in third spot. If you haven't been keeping up with the NPL New South Wales men, APIA last year's champions, they beat Rockdale to the line in the first past the post competition last season. They were keen to make it back-to-back, but Rockdale, with renewed purpose this season, they've been the team that set the pace, currently sitting 4 points above Marconi with 2 rounds to go. And they're on the front foot here through Chalakian. A nice build-up, bit of combination on the edge of the box. Giorgio Speranza, the player, getting forward from left back. A modern full-back there, just inverting into the middle and linking it up. And they've earned the corner.
APIA's pace has dropped just slightly, and that's allowing Rockdale to throw more numbers forward. You just spoke about it, Tony. Giorgio Speranza tucking inside that underlapping or inverted role. You'll see him get into those positions more and more frequently if he's allowed to.
Here's the corner from Antonio towards Collins, who tried to out-jump Dakota Askew, 2 former Blacktown City players. Just past the midway point here at Nostrata Jubilee Stadium. Tony Tanous and Alex Molchanov with you on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel for the Waratah Cup final. And the opening goal coming via the head of Michael Cooter, getting on the end of a set piece from Jack Armson. It was a strong header past Soros. Sorge happy to go back to his keeper. No one in that channel for Rockdale, so easy one for Cooter to retrieve. Again, they try and send Simmons forward, and a lovely ball. Just in an offside position, though, was Gibson.
Rockdale having their best period of the match in the last 5 minutes or so, but they've got to be so careful of this front line of APIA.
Great work here from Gibson to pinch it high, and they go quickly through. And it was the flag up again, this time to deny Jordan, who made that run. It was Gibson who pinched the pocket of the Rockdale team coming out of the back line. It was great work from the number 9.
They've got to be very careful here, Rockdale, because neither of those offside decisions by design from Rockdale's point of view. They're still struggling. Oh, here we go.
Uchino, the skipper for APIA, getting in there against Chalakian. That battle was on when these two sides met in round 26.
Familiarity breeds contempt, Tony. I think you're seeing a bit of that here in the early stages.
Adrian Uchino, the enforcer in the midfield for APIA. Such an experienced player, but he is the first APIA player booked. He joins Daniel Collins in Jake Rose's book.
I think that's a good decision from the referee, and a brave one as well, because there'd be plenty who wouldn't be too keen to get the cards out of their pocket, but Adrian Uchino had plenty of time to stop contesting that ball with his opponent on the ground. That's a good decision from the referee, and a big game for him as well tonight.
He's been given the opportunity in season 2024. Jake Rose done a terrific job to get himself the opportunity here in the Waratah Cup final. One of the young breed of coaches, of referees rather, around the National Premier League scene, hoping for potentially bigger honours down the track as the ball goes down the line. Chalakian gets into the box now, and he looks across. Hit that, probably hit Urusevsky too quick, and now Sorge on the edge of the box, and it's fallen here, and what a great opportunity. Just wide from Bay Antonio. Terrific action from Rockdale. A couple of good opportunities. And it was Bay Antoni who wasn't too far away in the end.
Camsell on his right foot. He probably would have preferred it on his left, but a lovely move from Rockdale. You saw Brendan Chalakian actually drop onto the shoulder of Dakota Askew, get himself a little bit higher, get alongside Alec Urashevsky, perhaps sensing that that's where the space is away from Uchino. And we'll see if he continues to take up those sort of positions. More and more promising signs for Rockdale, who've had the better of the last 10 minutes or so.
We even saw Braden Sorge pop up in an area we've seen him throughout the season. He scored a couple of bangers from that exact position just outside the box on the right-hand side. And he tried to latch onto that. A couple of months out of action. Was in a moon boot only a couple of weeks ago. So great to see such an experienced player back out on the pitch. They've come forward again quickly with Chalakian trying to slip it in behind. Again, it was a nice bit of interchange. Danso with Bay Antoni, the link up. Giorgio Speranza again.
Yeah, well, we'll see if Uchino makes the adjustment now, because that's a couple of times Brendan Chalakian's just dropped into that left channel. APIA not picking him up, and he's the man who can create something and find the equaliser for Rockdale. APIA really struggling to get out of their own half at the moment. The rhythm of this game has really changed in the last 10 minutes or so.
Here's Pelikanos, one of the players back in the starting 11 today. 3 changes from that side that drew 1-1 against the Sutherland Sharks in our NPL men's match of the round on Sunday as the rain starts to come down. We've had plenty of rain throughout the day as Chalakian now finds a bit of space, and he tried to shape that one towards the top corner. Couldn't quite get the trajectory he would have liked, but he found some space again.
Rockdale just need to keep going to this at the moment. It's working for them, and the goal will come. They've got enough good finishes around that area of the pitch. It's been uncharacteristic, the amount of chances that they've turned up. A big save from Anthony Bazanis in the early stages, and then 2 big chances in a couple of moments to Bay Antonio and Brendan Chalakian, which have been spurned as well. Hopefully that won't come back to bite Rockdale from their point of view, certainly.
Here is Jordan just dropping into the midfield to create the extra number. Out now to Stewart. He's got himself 3 goals in Cups football this season. They are a prolific side. They've had some big victories, starting with a 19-1 victory over Hazelbrook as Gibson gets in behind. And he got to it ahead of Soros there. Another good opportunity for APIA. And he's looking a threat every time APIA try and dink it in behind.
Boy, just seen chance after chance at the moment, Tony. It's been a frantic opening half hour. We've hardly had a moment to stop and take it all in. Been brilliant watch.
Here's Gibson, player familiar to those of you who follow the A-League Academy scene. He's joined APIA this season from Sydney FC. He's had a wonderful campaign, 7 across the Cups. He scored and 17 in the NPL competition. So plenty of prying eyes and whispers around his future. The potential that we might see him back up in the top tier of football in Australia.
APIA were thinking they were going to lose him in mid-season, weren't they? That move fell through, and they're very happy to have him back as they chase these couple of trophies in the back end of the year.
Here's Collins. Now Sorge. It was Caspers getting across. Fair according to the referee. Rockdale can keep the pressure on now. Good cut back here from Pelikanos. Battle between Chalakian and Stewart. Chalakian with a chance to line one up here. Sean Simmons defending deep. Speranza combining with Danso. Now Pelikanos. Quickly shut down was Chalakian, but they keep it alive. Danso starting to really influence things. He is very much the midfield metronome for Rockdale. Plays at the base in that number 6 role. A real shining light over the last couple of seasons. Rashudo forward to Speranza. Really patient build up this from Rockdale. Can they find some quality on the end of it? Pelikanos back out to that left-hand side for Bay Antonio. And it was Saya Kambiashi doing the defensive work.
We just saw the way Rockdale were happy to be patient there and build up and look to poke holes in the APIA Leichhardt defence. Not able to do it in the initial instance, but they're continuing to cause problems. Giorgio Speranza is having growing influence down that left-hand side.
Here's Chalakian. Collins was the target only a couple of moments ago. It's over the head of Buzanis. No one on the end of it for Rockdale, but a touch off the keeper according to the referee. So another corner here for Rockdale Ilinden.
Got to be very careful there, Anthony Buzanis. That's an area that teams have looked to put him under pressure all year. Rockdale going to the same trick. He came for that ball, didn't make any contact. Warning signs just growing and growing for APIA Leichhardt. They're still about just over 10 minutes away from the half-time break. They need to turn the tide before that, you feel, if they wish to avoid conceding the equaliser.
Chalak in again. Rashudo's in there. Now it's Gibson away. Rockdale with a chance to keep the pressure on. Chalakian forward to Constable, and it was excellent work. Armson, the attacking central midfielder, making sure he got back to help out. Another corner. They must be really racking them up at the moment. They're starting to ask more and more questions. This one's towards the back post. Falls here to Giorgio Speranza. Still alive now through Urushevsky, who'll look to go to work on that left foot. His opposite number in Jack Stewart was right onto him. But Rockdale win it back quick. Exactly what coaches love to see. That their players pressing and winning the ball back within those first few seconds. And that was a good example.
A little bit of inexperience being shown there by Eddie Kaspers. He just needed to get rid of that football. Giorgio Speranza right on the spot. You're seeing Urushevsky just pick apart little positions that he can get his foot on the ball as often as possible. Another corner for Rockdale.
Asking another question of Buzanis. They was crowded on that occasion illegally, said Jake Rose. So a relieving free kick for APIA, who've just absorbed a number of corners consecutively. A really good period from Nick Stavroulakis' players, putting the pressure on, looking for that equaliser before half-time.
Blake Rashudo is making a beeline for Anthony Buzanis' toes at every set-piece opportunity at the moment. He was a little overzealous there, but you feel that something's going to come here for Rockdale if they can continue to keep this pressure on for the next 10 minutes or so. APIA have been dogged in their defence, but there's only so long that'll hold up against a team with so much attacking quality.
Haven't seen Kambiashi get the opportunity to come forward too often. He's been a little bit more conservative on that right-hand side. We've seen a lot more from Sean Simmons down this near side. And there's Rory Jordan again looking to burst that back four. And he's got in behind. Can he tee it up inside? It was a great recovery from Rashudo. A classy challenge there. Kept his calm on Ben Gibson. But APIA asking question after question as soon as they get forward.
And that will buoy them, is the fact that they've got that outlet every time they go. Rockdale can't stay with them. They haven't got the pace and their line is set too high. They're able to pick those balls out over the top. That was beautifully weighted from Eddie Kaspers. And they've got players waiting with the pace of Ben Gibson, with the pace of Jack Stewart as well. That outlet is going to be there all night for APIA Leichhardt unless Rockdale make adjustments.
Can they punish Rockdale here and take a 2-0 lead into the break? Armson fizzes this one in. Gibson was the player attacking it. Now Rockdale can look to burst forward down that left-hand side. Chalakian feeding Antonio, and again they can't quite make it link with Urushevsky. That's probably been the missing piece for Rockdale in the first half. They've not quite been able to get their prolific scorer on the ball enough. And here he is. This might be the moment. Urushevsky out now to Antonio. And he goes again towards the knee post. Urushevsky quickly shut down by Kaspers. But look at the calm. Keeps possession for Rockdale. They look to go inside, and it was not too far away from Urushevsky. It's going to be a goal kick. With better signs getting it to the feet of their striker.
Spot on, Tony. It's just that final ball at the moment that's lacking for Rockdale. Getting in promising positions often enough. We've just seen a couple of overhit passes for Urashevsky, a couple that he's looked to duck in behind and they've tried to play to his feet. If they get that sorted out, then the goal will come. But at the moment, APIA doing a good job of just putting enough pressure on those players who are breaking into dangerous positions to make them rush their options in the final third.
Again, they go long, looking for Gibson, trying to isolate him one-on-one against Daniel Collins. Here's Dunsell. Built a nice chemistry with Dean Pelikanos at the base of that Rockdale midfield this season. Chalakian wearing the number 10, playing in that number 10 role, and he's back to his absolute vintage best in season 2024. What a campaign it has been for him. 8 goals in the NPL competition, more than 10 assists. His combination with Urashevsky is a real key as Rockdale approach half-time. Trailing by 1-0, courtesy of that early goal. Headed goal from Michael Kuda.
This is a really interesting period for Rockdale now. They've got about 5 minutes, just over that, to try and find a goal before the break. If they don't find that, they mustn't lose their heads. They've still created enough, and they're still going forward regularly enough to give APIA problems.
Here's Urashevsky trying to ask another question inside the box. And they were clever there. APIA, they got 2 players right around him in Kuda and Sean Simmons. The 2 experienced left-sided defenders were quick to combine defensively. Shudo's come forward again. Bayantoniu's in there. Daniel Collins. And it's just a glancing header from Rashudo, but he couldn't get the control or power he would have liked on that. And APIA have defended another corner.
A foul of an experienced player, I think you call that, Tony. Giorgio Esperanza knew exactly what he was doing there. Could see the right flank completely open for Rockdale. Just drags it at the defensive player of APIA Leichhardt down and makes sure that nothing's able to develop, and knows he's pretty safe in the fact that he won't get a booking that deep in his own attacking half. But Rockdale have talked about recruiting winners and trying to change that culture of a team that have been the nearly men so often. This year is a big opportunity for them to claim at least a couple of pieces of silverware. First big test tonight.
Currently sitting 4 points atop the NPL Men's New South Wales. They're around 29 games, 2 games to come. They will be taking on Sydney FC. And that game has been pushed back to Monday night, depending on the result. Marconi versus Blacktown City. They may have the premiership sealed, or if Marconi do the job against Blacktown City, Rockdale need 1 win from their remaining 2 games. And APIA come forward again. It's a wonderful goal. Again, it's the combination between Gibson and Jordan. They've been a threat for the entirety of the first half. And that link-up play and the execution on the finish was delightful from Rory Jordan. A wonderful finish. And APIA take a 2-0 lead.
It was a sloppy bit of play, wasn't it, from Rockdale, and they're fully punished. Rory Jordan with his 2nd goal in 2 cup finals. An unerring finish once the ball fell to him. Lovely bit of interplay, as you just mentioned, Tony, between he and Gibson. Ben Gibson is playing a brilliant hand up front without too much support too often. The 21-year-old playing with a wise head, a cool head beyond his years. Returning that ball to Rory Jordan, who is so lethal in those situations. He shows us that again, and those chances down the other end have come back to bite Rockdale because they've been punished from a turnover of their own. How do they respond now? The task is doubly difficult.
What a wonderful finish, and the combination between Jordan and Gibson. He has been lively in that number 9 role, and Jordan has looked to play off him. Again, one of those players who was rested on the weekend, and he looks fresh and ready to explode every time APIA get the ball. And they look forward. Rockdale, with just under 5 minutes remaining in this first half. Can they get one back? Seen them do exactly that on a couple of occasions this season. As Sorge gets this one in. I particularly remember the Wanderers game where they were trailing 2-0 against the Western Sydney Wanderers. They were able to get one back through Constable just before half-time. And in the second half, they were able to turn it around. They've shown plenty of resilience, so don't write Rockdale off just yet. A big test, though. They'd love to get one back here. What a first half it's been from Franco Parisi's side. They've looked ever so lethal in an attacking sense. Really exploiting space in behind. Jordan Gibson have been particularly dynamic. Over it comes to Danso. Now Chalakian. That was good defending. They've got their 2-0 lead. And momentarily they might just sit back and absorb a bit of pressure.
This game, as you just said, Tony, by no means over. Rockdale have created enough to show us that they've got enough going forward to keep causing APIA problems. They'd love one before the break, though.
Oh, good header at the near post there from Constable. No one coming in at the back post. APIA might be happy just to keep a bit of possession here. They've got their 2-0 lead. Now they've got it at the feet of Armson. Kambiashi comes forward. Here's Stewart. Cut out by Dansel. Can they exploit the space left by Kambiashi? Udashevsky peels out to that left-hand side. That's a lovely bit of link-up play. The flag has gone up against the skipper. He couldn't quite believe it. He thought he just managed to stay onside. The frustration mounting as we approach half-time.
Well, the problem for Rockdale isn't in their attacking half, which is a funny thing to say considering they haven't scored in this first half, but it's down the other end where they've got to correct things. APIA not needing a lot of the ball, a lot of possession. Rockdale, I think when we look at the possession stats at the end of this first half, will have a significant majority, but it's been APIA have been able to be more lethal with the chances that they've been able to create, and Ben Gibson is looking right back to top form after that little break in the middle over the registration window. He is been at the centre of everything good APIA have done in this first half, and Rockdale's defence, frankly, haven't been able to deal with him.
Rashuda looking for Chalakian. Couldn't quite make that pass stick. They're a club, Rockdale, that came up to the top flight in 2010, so they've been building over the last 15 years. As you said, so nearly to so many trophies. They've shown plenty of resilience this season, and they've got to make sure they don't concede a third here as we approach stoppage time. Another foul in the same spot that led to the opening goal.
So we know they've got that character, Tony. I don't think there's any doubt about that. It's whether they've got the bottle to go now. The premiership looks to be within their grasp. This coming back from behind, even if they are able to salvage an equaliser at some stage in this game, will give them great encouragement going forwards. They've got to make sure that they're not run over. They have, as you've mentioned, come back in a couple of these situations over the weekend. They've also allowed them to get on top of them. So as we get towards the end of this first half, they'll be hoping that they can produce something that's closer to the former rather than the latter.
Here's Armson's free kick, this time defended at the back post. Still alive here through Caspers. He'll get another opportunity. Happy to let that one run. Eat up the seconds. We are into stoppages.
The other challenge for Rockdale now, as we go to the break, will be adjusting to how APIA are so good at managing games to their finish. That's going to be the big test for them in the second 45, Tony.
And we go into the half-time break with APIA having a 2-0 lead. Michael Kuta, the opening goal, and Rory Jordan with the second Terrific half from Franco Parisi's men. And they will go into the break. Rockdale have a lot of work to do in the dressing room. Nick Stavroulakis and Vedran Giganchak, they're going to have to rally their troops. They've got a lot of experience in that side. So the second half, certainly not done yet. Your thoughts overall on the half, Alex?
Well, APIA started the brighter, didn't they, Tony? And they got that early goal, which has allowed them to settle into the match. Rockdale, despite having a good period through the middle of the half, not able to take the few opportunities that came their way. Urashevsky, Chalakian and Bayatuniu all missing opportunities. And that's really put them in this position now where APIA have been able to get on top, get that second goal, and now are just going to be able to relax a little bit. They'll be, of course, aware of the attacking options that Rockdale have going forward, but you have, of course, rather be Franco Parisi's side going into the break, and they know that they've got the outlet that even if they are under pressure, they're going to be able to put pressure on Rockdale defensively going the other way with those direct balls. So plenty to adjust for Nick Stavroulakis. It's going to be about as much how they find a way to defend against the counters that are coming their way as it is trying to catch APIA with this 2-goal lead.
So much still to come. Make sure you stick around. Football New South Wales YouTube. It's APIA Leichhardt 2, Rockdale Ilinden 0. And it is a welcome back to Nostrada Jubilee Stadium, this 2024 Waratah Cup final. And what a first half we've seen from APIA Leichhardt. They take a 2-0 lead into the second period, courtesy of goals on 7 minutes from Michael Cooter and 40 minutes from Rory Jordan. And Rockdale, they look like they've gone to their bench at the halftime break. They've brought on 2 players in Yinka Sunmola. And he looks like he's come on for Bay Antonio. And Hunter Elliott is the other one, a direct swap at right back for Braden Sorge. Thoughts on that, Alex?
Interesting substitution. The Elliott one is more significant to me, Tony. I think he's just going to give them that little bit more pace at the back to try and deal with the threat in behind that APIA have found so much joy from over the opening 45 minutes. Yinka Sunmola has been in good cup form, got a couple of goals over this run and has actually played more regularly in cup football than in the league so far this season, but he's looking like a player that's returning to form and confidence, and perhaps Nick Stavroulakis, is just seeing that and thinking perhaps if there's a player who can snatch a goal back quickly for them, that Sunmola can be the option. But plenty to fix here for Rockdale. And most of it's in their defensive half, Tony, to be honest, rather than going forward. We'll see if they can get a goal back quickly and give us a game in the second half.
And they're the team that kick us off, running from right to left in their traditional red and black. The NPL Men's New South Wales competition leaders still alive for the opportunity of 3 trophies this season. They can just about reach out and touch the premiership. But before that, they were hoping to add a first Waratah Cup trophy to their cabinet.
Quite remarkable, Tony, that this is their first ever final for a team with so much history, particularly around the state leagues of New South Wales. It's been a long wait to get to one of these showpiece fixtures. Be hoping that they can right the wrongs of the opening 45 minutes, but it's not started in the best fashion for them, that early free kick given up right on halfway.
And APIA in their 10th final for 5 wins and 4 losses. Last year, of course, losing in extra time to Sydney United. Sydney United, one of the most successful Waratah Cup clubs with 7 trophies, along with Harkoa, as referee Jake Rose goes across. He's got another decision to make here, and it looks like it's going to be Sean Simmons. Never shy of getting a card, Sean Simmons, and particularly in a final.
Yeah,
he saw that last year.
He knows the tightrope he's walking now, Tony. I'd be very, very surprised if we see the same mistake again, but was happy to welcome Hunter Elliott to the football match there. There you go, son.
So APIA looking to make it a 6th Waratah Cup title. They've been so successful. Their 4th final in the past 6 editions. Of course, we missed out during the COVID years on a couple of Waratah Cup seasons, but APIA have been ever present around that, losing to Harkoa in 2017. And then the following year, they got their redemption. Those 2 finals against Harkoa, they won it in 2018. And it's a similar tale maybe repeated here, where they lost it in 2023. Are they going to be able to seal it in 2024? They've got the 2-goal buffer. They're in the box seat. But Rockdale, don't count them out. They've shown their resilience right throughout the season. A real motivation, a real belief, a real unity among the squad. They haven't had Paul D in recent weeks, with Nick Stavroulakis and Vedran Giganchak taking the reins, but they haven't really missed a beat in that period since that 9-0 loss to the Marconi Stallions in round 20. They've played 10 matches in all competitions. They've won 7 and only lost a couple, so they've been in terrific form. They've been playing some really tight games. 5 of their 6 victories have been by a margin of 2-1. So they've shown that they can really tough it out and close out the tight matches. But right now they've got a 2-goal deficit to retrieve. Here's Sunmola. Can he inject something off the bench? Kambiashi was all over him. And again, he looks to slip it straight in behind. That pattern that we saw throughout the first half. APIA really going to that again early in the second.
Yeah, and APIA are just starting to manage this game, making sure that every restart is taking as long as possible. And you said that Ben Gibson is drifting to this right-hand side now, perhaps recognising that Hunter Elliott's going to give them a little bit more cover at the back on the other side of the pitch, but APIA are still showing enough. They don't need much of the football to create problems for Rockdale defensively, and that pattern's continued early in the second half.
Here is Pelikanos. Can he get some control in the midfield and start to create opportunities? Coming forward is Giorgio Speranza. Just hesitated, maybe in two minds. And it was Dakota Askew who's been solid alongside of Michael Kuda in the centre of APIA's defence. Perhaps not the first choice defenders when you look at the squad with Temba Watamalo. Josh Simmons currently out with a shoulder dislocation. Unfortunately, his season's over, a regular for this club over the past decade. So maybe two step-in central defenders, and haven't they done a terrific job so far? Certainly, and I think that's a big luxury that APIA have that some of the other teams in the competition don't, is their depth. And Michael Kuda's a player who can play on the fullback role, as well as Dakota Askew. They've come in and done their job phenomenally well tonight, and now have Themba Muatamalo to call off the bench should they need him in the dying stages of this game. APIA in a very comfortable position. That's not to say that Rockdale are out of the game whatsoever, particularly with that man Alek Urashevsky sniffing around for chances, but they're going to have to turn the tide here. They've started with possession and territory. This is the pattern of the game we were seeing through the middle stages of the first half. Rockdale are going to make the opportunities count now. Find that final ball, get Chalakian and Urashevsky together, get some more running power from Yinka Samola on the near side. Lachlan Constable needs to get into the game a little bit more as well. You mentioned Temba Muatamalo as one of the APIA substitutes, as Gibson gets in behind again, and he can't quite finish that one. Again, they spring that offside trap. They get it in behind to Gibson, who rounds the keeper, and that was a gilt-edged opportunity to make it 3-0. Well, we must credit the APIA midfield again. A beautiful ball, perfectly weighted for Gibson, who timed his run to perfection this time around, just getting off the shoulder of his defender. That is a big, big chance. That would have been one hand on the trophy for APIA if the youngster had been able to finish off there. Not to be for APIA yet. He's been heavily involved, particularly in the build-up for that second goal. And he's been a constant menace and real threat. Their top scorer, Ben Gibson. And he is relishing this big occasion. You're disappointed not to have hit the back of the net there, but APIA again looking dangerous. So quickly in counter-attack. Here's Sunmola now. Really need to try and find something here. Armson slips past the challenge of Danso, and suddenly it's a numbers game with Stewart streaming forward down the right-hand side. He's into the box and he's going to fire across. And that one looked like it was going wide, but Souris had to get a good, strong hand to that. Nick Souris is a big presence in goal, so it takes a bit of beating from long range. Certainly does, but Jack Stewart scored it both home and away against Rockdale in the league season. This is the game situation he loves to operate in when he's able to break down field quickly. He's never shy of having a crack on goal, and he forces a very good save out of the Rockdale Ilinden goalkeeper. Without him, the situation could be even worse for the NPL New South Wales league leaders. Here's another corner for APIA. This one towards the near post. It was defended by Constable. APIA, you sense, have got this game exactly where they want it. 2-0 up, and the opportunity to get Stewart going forward into counter-attack. It is, as you said, an area that he just loves. And Rockdale are going to have to take more risks as this game gets later and later on. That's going to create more and more spaces, which APIA have been so effective in capitalising upon. That's the reason I'm worried for Rockdale in this game. The situation all lines up towards an APIA victory, but stranger things have happened, Tony. And a turnaround like this with a team with as much firepower as Rockdale is still in this game thanks to Nick Souris' very good save. They had a big 5-0 victory in the Waratah Cup semi-final over Spirit FC. Prior to that, they also beat NPL side in Wollongong Wolves by 2-0. So they've played 3 NPL sides. The start to the competition was a tight one. They came from behind to score an equaliser against Manly United in the 93rd minute, which took it to extra time and penalties. Can they get one back here? Urashevsky with the long throw. Can they pick up the pieces on the edge of the box? Not quite falling to Rockdale at the moment. But we saw against APIA in that round 26 game, where APIA were probably best for the opening hour, opening 70 minutes. Rockdale still able to get 2 goals late on to win it and come from behind. So don't write them off just yet. But Gibson goes in behind. The referee had a decision to make there. He thought that it was going to be a penalty, but the referee waves it away. He felt that Gibson went down a little bit too easily.
Tend to agree with him there, Tony. It seemed to be that he was anticipating the contact rather than actually feeling it. Collins judging that to perfection, had to time his intervention to perfection there. Good experienced piece of defending, but another corner to defend here for Rockdale, a little bit put under pressure. The ball's down the wrong end for them at the moment.
And Jake Rose just gesturing to Gibson. I felt that you may have flopped a little bit there, so good communication from the referee as Armson this time aims towards the back post, and Caspers has to retrieve. He can slide it forward. They keep it alive. Gibson was waiting in the middle. Not sure there's any player that's deserved the goal as much as Gibson. He's been wonderful for APIA. Got himself an assist so far. He's getting plenty of space and opportunities.
Just another gorgeous intervention there from Uchino. They've had to manage his minutes this season. He's not as young as he once was, the APIA skipper, but he's been fantastic for them in the centre of their midfield this evening. Brendan Chalakian's had trouble escaping his clutches.
Again, they forced down this near side. Chalakian was quickly shut down by Uchino. And they come forward through Sun Mola. He's looking to make an impact. Now looking for the link up with Giorgio Speranza. Stewart alert to his defensive task. Chalakian again up against Uchino. This time Chalakian turns and does get a shot on target. Couldn't quite get the power he would have liked. Uchino was right there. He's, as you said, the experience showing and playing on a yellow card early on. Showing all of that maturity. This is Gibson again with the high press to trouble Rashudo. And Armson went to go quickly into the 18-yard box, but Hunter Elliott was across to help out. Again, APIA restart quickly. Elliott away. Now Uchino. Speranza was across there quickly, starting to really stretch Rockdale. And they're trying to use the width and get Stewart open on this near side.
We wondered if APIA might be the team that lost their legs a little early in this game, but the energy of Rockdale Ilinden has really slipped at the start of this second half, Tony. You wonder if they start looking towards their bench. They've got Sokat Aoka there, who's done a good job through the centre of midfield. Lockie Griffiths is the fresh defender, should they look to use him there. But they're very much looking second best at the moment. It's going to take something special to turn this game around. Just on the wrong page there. The two central, well, Daniel Collins thumping it into Giorgio Speranza, and behind it goes for another APIA set piece.
They're just going to milk this, aren't they? APIA at
Why
the moment.
Wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? Just the cup within reach.
Taking all the time in the world as we approach the 60-minute mark. APIA with a double in the opening period. And it's Armson's set-piece delivery that's caused havoc. This one's fizzed in low. He might get a second opportunity. He goes short instead now to Simmons. It's at the end where they want it. Happy to keep a bit of possession. Caspers can spread it out to that left-hand side. Now it's Simmons. He can get forward. That was good defending from Lachlan Constable. Working all the way back.
The other question now for Rockdale is who lifts them? Who's going to be your leader now with this situation against you? The tide is very much in APIA's favour. Can they look to someone like an Isaac Danzo? Is it going to be Brendan Chalakian inserting himself more often? Blake Risciuto taking a risk or two out from the back. He hasn't been able to really get that opportunity so far tonight. Need individuals to stand up in this sort of situation. And Dean Pelikanos, a youngster, but a leader in that sort of circumstance. And
here he is. Sliding it across to Chalakian. Again, that bounce not quite favouring Rockdale. It's just been the story of the evening so far. Not quite connecting, not quite clicking in that final third with that final delivery. Can APIA go quickly into transition? Cut out by Collins. Now it is Constable. I'll just take you through the Rockdale bench. What's left on the bench after those 2 half-time substitutions. Reserve keeper for them is Ricardo Rizzo. They do have Sol Kataoka, who's made a real impact in the second half of the season, the Japanese international with his set pieces. He might be an option. They've also got the youngster in Jason Kukowski, and they've got a defender in Lachlan Griffiths also available on the bench. APIA have yet to go to their bench, which looks like this. Alex Parks is the reserve keeper. The outfield players available: Nick Atsoni, Alex Denmead, Maxim Kasalovic, Temba Mwatamalo, and Anthony Sparacino. They're the respective benches. And so Kataoka, just as we speak, he and Griffiths just getting readied by Nick Stavroulakis and Vedran Jaganchak. Kukowski's also up on his feet, so we'll keep an eye on the Rockdale bench. They're the team most likely to try and influence things. APIA happy with what they've produced so far.
And arguably looking even more comfortable than they did in the first half, Tony, which is funny to say, given that's when they built their 2-goal lead, but Rockdale have barely been able to muster a chance and give Anthony Bazanis anything to think about in the APIA Leichhardt goal. That has got to change in the last half hour.
Here's Risciuto trying to inject himself into the midfield. Constable makes the move. A lovely ball over the top for Speranza. And look at the class of defending there from Sean Simmons. He got across, read that one early, and made sure he got to it ahead of Giorgio Speranza, who's just stayed down there. They might just hold off on the replacement to make sure that Speranza is okay, because Lachlan Griffiths is getting ready.
Going to be some instructions taken on board by some of the players here as well for Rockdale. How do we turn this game is the question. They've got the ball forward here, right in front of their supporters who have made their way to Jubilee Oval in good numbers tonight.
It will be Lachlan Constable, the player replaced here by Lachlan Griffiths, so that might necessitate a bit of an adjustment. Looks like Blake Risciuto, we've seen this throughout the season, he might be the player pushed into more of an advanced area. I've seen his goal-scoring prowess and his threat, and he might provide the tonic that Rockdale really need at the moment. In comes the throw from Urushevsky. Risciuto is in there. Can he lay it off? It's Pelikanos who tried to shape it into the far corner, and Lockie Griffiths with his first effort was deflected away for a corner.
Maybe not where he expected to see his first touch, Lockie Griffiths, but he was sharp enough in there for a centre-half, sorted his feet out well. Rockdale starting to build the pressure that they desperately need.
Here's Chalakian. Griffiths does provide another aerial threat, and that was a good opportunity, a great opportunity, in fact. Pelikanos couldn't quite get the header down. And that's perhaps their best moment in the second half.
And those are the moments in these cup finals. We were talking at half-time, Tony, about the chance spurned by Lachlan Constable very shortly after APIA's opening goal and how that might have changed the rhythm of this game. That's another moment that Rockdale have just not been able to seize over the course of this cup final, and it could be the telling factor at the end of the game when the history is written.
Griffiths alert to his defensive role there. He's probably watched APIA get in behind multiple occasions from the bench, and now they get another opportunity, and they've made it 3. This time it's Jack Armson. A lovely ball through the middle, and Armson had the calm and composure, and that just about seals a 6th Waratah Cup for APIA Leichhardt.
And that just typifies what Jack Armson is all about, just gliding into the box, not picked up by the Rockdale Ilinden defence, and you'd almost put your house on him from there. He was never going to miss, was he, Tony? Fantastic finish, and that has been the story of the game. Rockdale spurn a chance down one end, APIA take theirs, and they got one hand on the cup now. They've been fantastic over the course of this hour or so of the cup final, and now they've only got a little bit of time to see out to make sure that they are placing their hands on this trophy that they lost out in the final of last year. No such mistake in 2024. It's theirs to lose again.
3-0 it is. APIA Leichhardt over Rockdale Ilinden. They've had to turn their focus to the Cup and the post-season, given their fortunes in the National Premier League competition. And they've shown that they rise to the big occasion. Freshened up over the weekend. And they've really responded.
And hasn't it made all the difference in this second half, Tony? We wondered if APIA might run out of legs. They've done exactly the opposite. They've been unrelenting in their pressure. They haven't let Rockdale have a moment's peace. And then they've been able to execute when they have been able to get the ball into promising areas. And amongst all of that, the credit must go to the coaching staff of Franco Parisi and David Tapuzzo. Have managed this squad very, very well over a tricky period. A lot of big games, but they've come just right for this one in the big moment. We're going to have a piece of silverware to show for it very shortly by the looks of things.
Here's Chalakian. Can they get one back quickly? Ludoszewski's barely had a sniff. The two central defenders, Kuda and Askew, as soon as that ball's gone into a central area, they've made sure they've shut him down quickly. Not giving him any room around the 18-yard box. This one is going to sting unless they can turn it around, get one back. Rockdale, and you just never know. Still plenty of time. Not even the midway point of the second half. APIA have been happy to sit back and then exploit in space. This is exactly what Stewart loves, and he can go on the gallop now. Chased by Sunmola. Danso into the midfield. Rashudo, a heavy touch. And again, Uchino can just play a measured ball into Caspers. Here's a bit of space for Udushevsky. He spots the keeper off his line. And there's a bit going on in the back play. And it is going to be the skipper in Adrian Uchino. Is this a potential turning point midway through the second half? A second yellow card to Adrian Uchino. We've just spoken about how measured and how cool he has been since getting that early yellow card. But they're going to have to play out the match now with 10 men, and that was in the back play, Alex. Yeah,
it was probably a challenge he didn't need to go into, Tony. It was one he was always going to be second to, and in that area of the pitch, I think Adrian Uchino will look back at that and maybe want the challenge back. But that's a big driver now for Rockdale Ilinden. Perhaps a little bit of wind in their sails, just the lifeline that they were looking for. But doesn't change the fact they need to take the opportunities as they come their way. There's no doubt there'll be one or two for them in these closing stages. Can they take them?
They've made an adjustment as well. So Kataoka, who's getting his first touch here. Technical Japanese import. Very good at the set pieces as well. Can he provide a spark? He's come on for Daniel Collins. So they've sacrificed a defender. And they'll push men forward. They've got to find something. And Kataoka again gets into the box. What a big moment. APIA, who had Sean Simmons sent off earlier in the match in the Waratah Cup final last year. And that was a pivotal moment. Had to play out a large portion of the game and extra time as well. One man down. There's less time to see it out today, but not an ideal scenario.
But we saw them striking in transition in that cup final as well, didn't we, Tony? They were perhaps unlucky not to score one or two more that day. They've been able to take their chances on this occasion, which has given them a buffer.
Here's Stewart out to that left-hand side now. Jordan again, who's had a terrific evening. Got himself on the score sheet, but he's proved a constant menace. What about Sean Simmons' work at left back? He's really risen to the occasion, shown what a big game player he is. Been rock solid, allowed nothing to really come down that side for Rockdale.
Absolutely. Lachlan Constable had that chance early in the game, didn't he, Tony? But we've hardly seen him since. A lot of that's down to the good work of Sean Simmons, who's been his direct opponent tonight.
Here's Rashudo. Out to Elliott. Decent shape on that delivery, but Dakota askew. There's some debate as to whether Temba Mwatamala would be ready. Maybe a bit too soon after suffering 14 stitches in that head knock last week away to Olympic FC. Appealing for a free kick. It's Chalakian who went down. We are going to see APIA go to the bench for the first time. Rory Jordan, the player making way, and it is going to be the central midfielder in Maxim Kasalovic. Player signed during the transfer window from the Central Coast Mariners.
And has really played the role of Uchino when he hasn't been available. So Franco Parisi recognising the importance of that position in the spot that APIA are in.
Great ball here, and it was Rashudo and Sunmolo went over both of them. And there was a clash, but referee saying nothing illegal in that. Just a coming together. Again, a little pointer to the lack of timing with the delivery and the players in the box meeting that. It's been a pointer to Rockdale's evening so far. That final ball and the execution.
That's going to become more pronounced now, Tony, because the situation that they're in, playing against 10 men, generally the most room on the pitch becomes wide as the team drops deeper and looks to defend their penalty area. That delivery from Hunter Elliott off the right and Giorgio Speranza getting forward from left fullback is going to become more and more important. It's going to become the main route to goal if Rockdale are to try and salvage something here. Got to get that right.
We are into the final 20 minutes. Rockdale trail by 3-0. Franco Parisi bringing on the central midfielder, Kasalovic, sacrificing one of his front three. Looks like Gibson may have peeled out to that left-hand side and Armson will play more of a false 9 as the ball goes in behind now. Opportunity here for Urushevsky, and it was sharp work. Buzanis with a strong save, sharp down to his left. And a best opportunity perhaps for Urushevsky.
Credit to Buzanis. He hasn't had much to do in the second half, has he, Tony? But when called upon, he was sharp enough. Urushevsky putting it close to his body. They can be trickier for goalkeepers than they appear, but that was tidy work from the gloveman of APIA.
Excellent feet here from Griffiths. They get it out to Sunmola. Again, askew at that near post with the clearance.
And hasn't he been terrific through the centre of their defence today, playing in a position that is not his first choice. Dakota Askew is barely allowed a sniff for Alek Urushevsky.
Again, they look for their skipper, Kataoka, on to influence in the midfield. Can he provide the creative spark? I get one back and you just never know with the extra numbers. APIA now set a little bit deeper. Are they going to be able to counter-attack and relieve the pressure with one man less? Here is Sunmola. Speranza making the run forward. Good build up this. Again, That final touch in the box, Chalakian maybe in two minds, just hesitating again.
My thoughts exactly, Tony. There was just a little bit too much time almost for Blake Rashudo to decide what to do as that ball bounced to him at an awkward height, and just a lack of decisiveness that's characterised Rockdale's evening in the final third, both in taking opportunities and creating them. They've got 15 minutes to right the ship.
Team that's been so prolific over the course of season 2024. There's been a real flow about them. Of course, no Mathieu Cordier, who has been a massive influence on their season. It's good to see him out at Rockdale Ilinden Sports Centre on the weekend. He's recovering from an operation after that horrific leg injury. And certainly have missed his influence in an attacking sense in this match. Here is Pelikanos. Out now to Elliott. He ducks inside. Can he provide the link-up play? Chalakian went down. Again, Jake Rose was alert to that. The gamesmanship. And Sean Simmons, such an experienced campaigner. It's not much he hasn't seen.
Asked to play more and more as a fullback this season, and he's done the job so adeptly, both in an attacking and getting back and doing the traditional role as well. You saw him sense the danger there and snuff it out so quickly. APIA's backline must be given so much credit. They've had plenty of defending to do tonight. They've carried out their duties with aplomb.
Just alert to the potential for time wasting. Buzanis asked to hurry it up. To the final 15 minutes, APIA. That 3-goal buffer. Just happy to drop off with that one less player now. Sunmola. Kambiashi's stuck to him since he's come on. Bit of room for Pelikanos. Can he find the thread? Again, it's Dakota Askew. Nice reverse ball from Speranza, and it was Urushevsky and Chalakian on that occasion. And again, that final touch.
That's a chance you don't see Alec Urushevsky miss too often. That sums up Rockdale's night. Beautiful bit of work from Sammola. Credit to him. Managed to work that space for himself, get in behind Kambiashi and get to the byline. Cross was well weighted. It was low. It was exactly where Urushevsky likes it. But really a good cap on Rockdale's night and where things have gone wrong.
So half chances in the second half. Pelikanos, we just saw there. Urushevsky moments ago, testing the keeper as well. Nothing quite coming off for Rockdale. It's often said, Alex, that you do have to get to a final, get the feeling of losing it. And obviously APIA last year, Rockdale, their first final. They do have a lot of experienced players, but
it's just different in these big games, isn't it, Tony? And the fact of the matter is they might have another big one coming up in about a month's time, and maybe this game serves them well, but they've been short of the mark tonight by their own standards. It's not been in an attacking sense for the most part. They've created enough. The general play's been okay, although probably not at the level we've seen when they're in full flow at times this season, but they just have not been clinical enough when those chances have presented themselves.
Here is Rashudo. He looks for Kataoka. Eddie Casper's rolling up the sleeves, just dropping back into the back line to help out. And it's going to be another yellow card. This one, frustration. Giorgio Speranza goes into the book.
And I mentioned earlier in the first half when Speranza committed a foul up the other end in a very similar situation. Out of experience and not allowing a counter to develop, as you said, Tony. That one very much out of frustration. Going straight through the back of the defender. Time well and truly running out now for Rockdale.
Approaching the final 10 minutes. Buzanis was warned only a moment or two ago. This time, He goes into the book for the time wasting. So a couple of quick yellow cards in succession. Rockdale really need it down the other end. They really need to try and take something if they're going to make a game of it late on. APIA with all their experience. Happy to just absorb now.
Credit to them. It's been an all hands-on-deck effort, really, hasn't it? Since the third goal, they've given up any sort of control of the match, which they had at the start of the second half in terms of keeping possession and territory.
Another change here for Rockdale. George Esperanza, who was just booked. Jason Kukowski is the player, the youngster, an attacker. So he'll give him a little bit more impetus going forward, maybe in that wide left area. In comes the long throw, the flick on from Griffiths. The punch from Bazanis. Still alive here through Griffiths. And now Urushevsky. Couldn't quite find his target in Griffiths. Now he looks for the cross. Kataoka was waiting, but Kuda was there first. Griffiths again. This time Sean Simmons. Not in any mood to give anything up, APIA. They're cutting out every delivery. Kuda first and now Simmons.
What they've sacrificed with that man being sent off and Adrian Uchino is just the outlet going forward. Obviously not something they need, holding the 3-goal advantage, but it does mean that Rockdale are able to build pressure a little more effectively with less risk of giving anything up going the other way.
Chalakian just dropping deep to try and influence the attack. Get a few touches. Face forward, Sunmola. That was a nice idea, but again the execution. And from one of their experienced players in Chalakian, as I said earlier, has been so good for them in season 2024, but just not quite clicking on the big occasion today so far, him and Urushevsky.
Been short of their own standard tonight, if there's any doubt about that. Just been on different pages, and credit must go to the APIA defence who've planned so effectively for tonight's game by the looks of things. They've had 2 men on Urushevsky most of the night. Adrian Uchino did a fantastic job of shutting most of Chalakian's space down while he was on the pitch, and Maxim Kasalovic has taken over that role and done it pretty well.
Here's Kukowski now, getting his first attacking involvement on the left foot. Sunmola couldn't bring it under control. And again, APIA can clear. Anywhere will do right now for them. Sunmola again. Pressure's going to keep coming. APIA happy to drop off. Now Pelikanos looks inside. Urushevsky was adjudged to have been doing some pushing into the back of Askew.
Just trying to create some separation for himself, Alec Urushevsky, and Dakota Askew beautifully positioned again inside him, making sure that the ball is going to have to be inch perfect to find his head. You mentioned that Rockdale's delivery was going to have to almost take another step up with APIA being down a man and happy to sit in behind the ball. I haven't been able to muster that telling cross or that telling through pass, though, tonight. And Alec Urushevsky, the one clear chance he has had in the second half, he hasn't been able to put on target. So a combination of all those things for Rockdale.
Credit very much goes to APIA for the way they've
surrounded
him. Player who has such a prolific record, goal a game, over the last few seasons of the NPL Men's New South Wales.
Over such a long period too, Tony. It's been quite a remarkable run.
Very much, no doubt, the game planning from an APIA perspective would have very much been around how we nullify Urushevsky, and they've done an amazing job at that as APIA look to make another change, and it's another defensive option here in Nick Atzoni. So Jack Stewart, who's done a terrific shift on the right-hand side, up and down some of his defensive work, which was perhaps an area when he first joined APIA that was maybe questioned, but his work today down that right-hand side in transition, working back with Giorgio Speranza.
He's worked his socks off, Tony, and Franco Parisi's been able to get that work rate out of him. It was something, you're absolutely right, there was questions about him when he made the move to APIA Leichhardt from Mount Druitt Town Rangers. but he's turned into someone who's using his athleticism down both ends of the field, and it has been such an added bonus for APIA Leichhardt. None more obvious than tonight.
Here's Kukowski. Chance to get that on the left foot, and there's Cambiashi, who's been terrific. Probably one of his top performances this evening for APIA since he made the move across from Manly, one of the big name signings in the off-season. Cambiashi's work at right back today. He's been rock solid. That just about sums it up.
You never see that from Brendan Chalakian. Never.
The frustration continuing as we approach the final 5 minutes of regulation time. Nothing quite working for Rockdale. They are going to have to go back and really think about this, but still the focus has to shift perhaps for them to Monday. They've got the opportunity still to seal a trophy with the premiership. Depending on what happens, Marconi will look to keep the pressure on against Blacktown City on the weekend. So still plenty to play for in the NPL Men's New South Wales.
On paper, Marconi have the tougher run home, but Rockdale have got two academy sides that are suddenly coming into form, aren't they, Tony? So that game on Monday night at the Ilinden Sports Centre against Sydney FC will be very, very difficult. APIA Leichhardt can tell them all about that. And then the Mariners on the final day, who have started to pick up points and show a lot more than they were at the start of the season. So by no means a foregone conclusion, but this game is going to provide an opportunity for learnings, I think, for Nick Stavroulakis' team, going into some big finals games where they'll have the chance to rest their legs. So looking as though they won't have that midweek game in the opening week of the finals, but no doubt that won't do anything to soften the blow of the disappointing performance they've put in tonight. They just haven't been at the same level as their opposition.
Here is Sunmolo switched out to that right-hand side. Gibson, who continues to prove a menace, leading that line in the number 9 role. He's been terrific throughout.
Just pulled up there, Tony. That's not anything too serious. Alex Denmead was being readied in any case, but hopefully that's just some weary legs rather than anything more serious.
Here comes the ball from Pelikanos, the lay down from Urushevsky, and now they look for the combination. This is one of the better moments for Rockdale, but how alert was Nick Atzoni, playing in that midfield, fresh legs, just tucking inside and really snuffing out the opportunity. With a bit of symmetry, we haven't seen too much of that.
Well, you talk about the depth. I talked earlier in the game about the depth that APIA have available to them. When you're able to bring a player like Nick Atzoni off the bench in this situation, it's just a luxury so many teams don't have.
Yeah, we are now going to see that substitution. We saw Gibson just going down after that effort a moment or two ago in an attacking sense. And he's done his shift, and what a terrific shift it's been. Unlucky perhaps not to get on the score sheet, but what a shift. Contributing in a big way. They planned around his speed and influence in behind the Rockdale defence, and the game plan worked to a T.
Player of the match for me, Tony.
Wonderful performance from Ben Gibson. Stanso gets it out to that right-hand side. Kukowski, perhaps a bit too much on that. Couldn't quite climb and get the header down.
Not what he's known for, is it?
No.
His work in the air. Did well to get himself into the position, but was always going to be difficult to keep this on target. Just looking through Rockdale's results, this is going to be the first time they've been held to a clean sheet since that 9-0 loss to Marconi. So a fantastic effort that APIA Leichhardt have put in defensively tonight.
And as I said, there's been 10 games since that round 20 game in all competitions. They've had a Waratah Cup semi-final. They've had Australia Cup round of 32.
Found a goal against an A-League men's side.
Yeah,
and
today
APIA have done too good a job on them.
And I mentioned earlier, APIA feel like they probably dominated, controlled that second contest as the second half of the season, where Rockdale came home late. But here they were able to build that buffer that perhaps they didn't do in that round 26 game. That round 26 game, they sat on that 1-goal lead and allowed Rockdale back into the match. But here they were able to build their buffer, build their control, and probably get the rewards. And their efficiency.
100%. Particularly in that first half, you look at the chances that Rockdale squandered there. Moments that could have changed the game. and that's often what these big cup finals are about. APIA have won all those big moments tonight, and Rockdale will need to learn from that going forward as they hit the final series.
This one's going to be difficult for Rockdale to swallow, but they're going to have to try and bounce back quickly. They've been able to push their round 29 match out to Monday night, which gives them a few days. They'll need to recover not only physically, but mentally put this one behind them.
They have been able to do that a couple of times this season, Tony. Bounce back from disappointing performances. It was on that game that they won against Blacktown the weekend after the midweek disaster against Marconi. So they've shown a propensity to do it. It's just whether they've got the resilience to do it again.
They can turn the momentum around with a victory over Sydney FC on the weekend, which will allow them to lift the premiership. And that momentum could then be taken into the final. So still obviously a lot to play for. But this one's going to be a difficult one for Rockdale to deal with. Their first Waratah Cup final, they were hoping to taste success. But APIA have proved they've come up with the game plan and they've executed it to perfection, as the fourth officials board, Kelly Jones, shows us that we're going to have 3 additional minutes. Can Rockdale find something?
We must pay credit to APIA as well, Tony. Had mental scars from this game last year. They haven't shown them whatsoever. They've been so disciplined defensively, stuck to the game plan, took the big opportunities when they came their way. Dakota Askew was part of that team last year that went down in the final, as was Michael Cooter.
Speaking to Franco Parisi ahead of this match, he emphasised that there's been no cause for panic. They're still playing their football. They're playing well. There's no crisis. Obviously, they're disappointed not to have been able to chase the premiership, but still so much to play for, and they've shown all of that experience here in the Waratah Cup final. And you sense at the finals they're going to be certainly up for that.
Just looking at the league table at the moment, this is a potential grand final as well, isn't it? With one meeting 4, or 4 versus 5, the winner of that game. So Rockdale will likely avoid them in the early stages of the final series if everything stays as is. We could be sitting here in a few weeks' time calling a game that plays out very similarly, and Rockdale will be hoping for a different result. We'll see if they learn from it.
In fact, 3 of Pelicanos lines one up from long range. They can't quite get a consolation up. You're happy to knock it anywhere, but 3 of their 4 losses in the league have actually come against the teams around them. So APIA, one of those, Marconi, that big loss, and also Blacktown City earlier in the season. So they have shown that against the bigger sides in that top 6, those losses have come against them. So still so much for Rockdale to achieve. Can they find themselves a late consolation here as Kataoka back through Sunmola. Rashudo with a great opportunity here. Kakowski combines, and there's the save. Bazanis, they're intent on keeping a clean sheet here, APIA. And that was wonderful defending. Bazanis with the initial save, and then it was all hands on deck defensively. But they might just have a bit of an injury to deal with here. It's been a night that's gone perfectly for them, and I'll hope that it's nothing serious.
It's Sean Simmons again, Tony, sliding across to make that block. What an evening he's had. Said Ben Gibson has been my player of the match for what he's done down the other end, but he's been the pick of the defenders tonight, hasn't he? Amongst 4 very good performances.
That's exactly what you expect from Sean Simmons. A big game player. He's been a life and soul in many ways of this club over the past decade. He's produced some massive moments, including in the 2019 NPL Men's New South Wales Grand Final at Parramatta Stadium. That victory over Blacktown City. In fact, Sydney United on that occasion.
Yes.
Blacktown City. And that is it. APIA for the 6th time are your Waratah Cup champions. They do it with a comprehensive display against Rockdale Ilinden. 3-0 it finishes. 2 goals in the opening half and 1 in the second period. They executed their game plan to perfection. They bounced back after last year's loss to Sydney United 58 on the same occasion. And the big game players, the cup specialists, have stood up on the big occasion, Alex.
Nothing less than they deserve for the performance tonight, Tony. Their form all the way through the cup, regardless of what's been happening in the league, through the peaks and troughs, they've always seemed to turn up the whole way through these games. They've got a big win in the Waratah Cup quarter-final against Marconi, and that hard-fought victory in the Derby d'Italia that went to extra time. But apart from that, they've been comprehensive the whole way through. 5 goals in every game, at least, other than that, and another terrific attacking display, matched with some dogged defending after they lost Adrian Ucino with just under half an hour to play. But they didn't look like conceding, in all honesty. They marshalled that attacking trio that have caused so many problems for teams up and down the state this season. Credit to Franco Parisi and David Tapuso. They had another trophy to the collection that they've already built in their short tenure as the duo leading APIA Leichhardt. All credit to this famous old club that adds another chapter to their storied history.
We're going to take in all the action from the presentation. APIA have done the business. Unfortunately, their skipper, Adrian Ucino, sent off, so I'm not even sure if he's going to be allowed to pick up the trophy. Well, I'll keep an eye on that, but that's probably the only sour point for them, that red card, which might see him miss some action in the next couple of weeks. So we'll keep an eye on all of that, but the focus very much now can probably turn to the finals. They've done the business here. They've got themselves, and they've probably shaken it probably gives them a bit of relief given what they've had over the last month or two and their struggles in the NPL with the build-up of games. But to get that trophy probably takes a bit of the pressure off and maybe allows them to be freer coming into the finals.
I think the performances they put in against some of the big teams on the road to this, the semi-final victory over Blacktown was just so comprehensive. Away from home, they've come here again tonight, put in a similar display, stuck to the game plan, the processes that Franco Parisi has been so keen on reiterating, not only to his players but to us in the media as well. And we're seeing evidence of that on the pitch in front of us. They handled the occasion better tonight. They came out of the blocks quickly, took the opportunities when they fell their way, and they were able to build off the back of that so that even when they did lose their captain midway through the second half, that there was no panic. They just stuck to what had been working. It was all hands on deck defensively. We mentioned the work that Sean Simmons, who was a real leader at the back, he did a fantastic job there alongside Dakota Askew. It was a bit of a makeshift back four with Josh Simmons and Themba Moatamalo unavailable from the start. So they had to work hard in a defensive sense, but they were able to do that effectively against one of the most lethal attacks in the competition as well. So all credit to the cup winners. And Adrian Ucino has managed to find his way back onto the field with a captain's armband and a club polo still on. So glad that he will get the special moment as the leader of this side to add to the premiership, the championship that they added last season.
While we wait for the presentation, a word about Rockdale. I guess they'll be very disappointed. Their first final, they're delighted to get there. That's been a long road coming to get to the final. And they're going to go over and, see their fans who've come out and probably made the noise early on, but APIA were able to silence them. And they're going to have to try and look to bounce back now in the league and then in the final series and try and salvage some silverware this season.
And that's the step they haven't been able to make yet, Tony. For all their fantastic form in the league, and they've been winning the games that they're able to consistently, they've managed to keep the momentum up over the course of the league season. Now the question is, can they win these big games? And again tonight, they've fallen short of the mark against another team that are closer to their level. And really at times tonight, although they did have periods, particularly in the first half, where they were on top in the match, weren't able to take their opportunities, and then their level did drop during the second half. I don't think there can be any doubt about that. And the key players that they're looking to really launch them up to this championship are still yet to show whether they can really grasp a game by the scruff of the neck and take it away from the opposition. Weren't able to do that tonight. Will they be able to do it over the course of the final series? That's certainly a question that's going to be asked now going into those big couple of games for them.
Well, it's APIA who are our champions. The goals coming. First one through Michael Kuda The assist from Jack Armson on 7 minutes. And then it was Rory Jordan with perhaps the dagger just before halftime on 40 minutes. A wonderful bit of link-up play with Ben Gibson. And he was able to put it past Nick Soros to make it 2-0. And then trademark Jack Armson popping up inside the 18-yard box. And he kept his calm and composure. A quality finish. 3 great goals from APIA.
Exactly right. And the second one particularly, I think, is one that sums up the night. It was a period in the match where Rockdale were looking to get back in the game. They gave up a sloppy turnover and they were punished in full with Ben Gibson linking up with Rory Jordan, who just did what he needed to tonight. There was nothing out of the ordinary. Rory was in and around the periphery and then stepped in to take the game by the scruff of the neck when he was called upon with a cool finish. And Jack Armson popped up down the other end in the second half to do the same and really killed the game off. Rockdale didn't look a chance after they conceded that third goal, even after APIA lost Adrian Uccino to the red card. So all credit to Franco Parisi's team. They were superb all evening.
Just about to go down to our ground announcer, Nicola Posda, take us through the presentation.
Congratulations to this year's champions, APIA Leichhardt, and well done to the runners-up, Rockdale Ilinden. The boy have been the official ball sponsor.
Football New South Wales members Deborah Chapman and Carlos Gonzalez. Firstly, let's show our gratitude to today's team of officials who have played an integral role in the Cup final. Referee Jake Rose. Assistant referees Alessandro Lana and Aaron Bosch. And fourth official Kenny Jones. And now to the player of the match. So many fantastic players have taken out this honour throughout the years in what stands as one of the country's most historic cup competition. With the assistance of our very own Football New South Wales journalists, the winner of the 2024 Player of the Match is from APIA Leichhardt. Yeah, I'll keep doing it, mate. Just watch my shoes, bro. Stay there. The camera's here. Mark, we don't score many goals. Talk us through that one.
Don't be dirty there. Look, time to score some goals if they don't score. So, I want to credit Naps. The Peruso, he drew that one up. I don't really score many headers, and the league header I scored, so. Thank you.
That's enough for a while. Thank you, Mark. Moving to today's runners-up, can I please ask Alec Kudaszewski to please come forward. Alec, a tough one to take for your team today. What do you say to that one?
Yeah, they're on the day. We move on. That's it.
Hopefully you see him in a few weeks. How do you prepare for that one coming off this loss?
we stick to what we do and just come Monday.
Alec, I'll get you to call your teammates up, please.
Thank you. DC. Lucky.
Now, on to the champions. Even though you've got a red card, we'll still call him up. APIA Leichhardt captain Adrian Uccino. Are you allowed to talk? Are you allowed to lift the trophy? What's the go?
I might give you sound off again.
Adrian, a big win for you guys obviously last year. You didn't do it this year. How important was it to get that win today?
It was hard last year. I feel like it was a bit tough going down to 10 minutes early on in the game. And we worked hard and almost had it, and we lost in the end. So I feel like it's a bit of a reward. Today, also for what we've been doing the last few months, we've had a tough period. And the boys have been on fire, dominating, but we just haven't been getting the results. So it's nice to get a reward with another trophy.
Rockdale, always a tough opponent and someone that you guys over the years, the last few years, have really created a massive rivalry with. You might see them again in the finals. How do you prepare for that one?
It's always a game that we look forward to and we enjoy. I know they're a great team, and that's what we love. We love playing against the best, and we're just happy that we got the win tonight.
Well done to you and your team. If you'd like to call up your teammates to pick up their medals.
Kutz, Rory, Armson, Buzani, Joshua Simons, Sean Simons, Eddie Caspers, Jack Stewart, Dana, Sparta, Arzone, Max, Dennis, Gibbo, Dax, Mascherano, Bugsy, Daniel, Barney, Sega, Evan, Boffa, Frankie, Dax, Vitas, Michael, Joey, Sergio, Andrew, Sam, Izzy,
Get the trophy, man.
Everyone, please congratulate the 2024 Waratah champions.
Zero cup.
Ready?